Hey everybody, what do you say? Thank you for watching. Hello everybody. News done differently. We're going to uh, connect some dots tonight as well. And going to do a brief news report, as I said, connect some dots. And then we're going to open up uh, site to, or open up the episode to any women that would like to express any feelings about the Roe v. Wade decision. And like I said, I'm going to do a brief news first to give some people some time to hop on. And again, I thank you all for watching. Um, if you're in watching on YouTube, you'll be able to take part in the chat. And I think you might have to be on YouTube in order to join um, the program. I'm going to go ahead and put the and it's ladies only, by the way, because men, we just this is something that. Okay, there we go. Hello, Fred. Thank you for watching. Okay, so at the very top there is the link if you're a lady and would like to come on and talk, and if you don't, that's fine too. If you want to just put something in the chat, feel free to do that. And I will read it, and you can come on without video. You can come on audio only, I believe, and just talk. So that's what's going to happen tonight. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. If nobody wants to come on and talk, the only reason, one of the main reason I'm doing this and decided to go ahead and do a live tonight and invite women to come on and speak is because I flipped over to Fox News. I watch a lot of different things. I flipped over to Fox News. Sean Hannity and three other old white guys were having a panel discussion on abortion. And to me, I was just like, okay, well, there's the problem right there. Four old white guys thinking that they can tell every woman in the United States, or not every woman in the United States, but you get my drift. Anyway, I've run for office and ran for Congress. Those of you that watch know I ran against Mike Pence. I've ran 5 times in total, won 5 different primaries. And today's primary day in Indiana as well. But where was I going with that? Primary day, and it just dawned on me. Something just dawned on me. Anyway, I always have held the same position. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a woman. And I have no business, nor does the government have any business in women making medical decisions. It's her body. It's her decision. That has always been my position. Okay. And it's one, in my opinion, of non-judgment. And anyway, that's why we're going to try to do what we're going to try to do. Yeah, totally agree, Fred. If you're not able to carry and deliver a baby, do you really have anything to say? Yeah, you got a part to play. You're a parent, but if there is, and you're not going to hear what we're going to talk about on any other news device because we're going to get into what this actually means. And actually, again, Fred, Sissy, everybody watching. Again, if you're on YouTube, I believe YouTube is the only way you can chat. But go ahead and leave comments if you're on one of the other platforms, and I'll get notified that you've left them there. So let's start looking at the news. And let's start out. The price of gas is high here in the United States, much higher than we're used to. But let's look at what's going on in the rest of the world. $4.46 a gallon here in the United States, $8.36, $8.64, $8.26, $7.93, $8.68, $9.09, $10.19, $10.71 in Hong Kong. So it's hitting everybody, okay? Fortunately, President Biden released some of the emergency stockpile to kind of temporarily ease things, but at the same time, that is our emergency stockpile. So we can't do that. We can't do that too often. We're going to have to realize that gas is going to go up. Hopefully, not going to go up like that, because if it does, I drive a place. I'm on a fixed income, and fixed income and needing help. The Tulsa Race Massacre reparations lawsuit has survived the motion to deny, and it will move forward. A judge has moved. The lawsuit was originally filed in March of 2021, and I told you all back then, I'm going to keep track of this. The People's Convoy has sued Washington, D.C. The 16 trucks that were trying to go into downtown Washington, D.C., and were the police barricaded the off ramps, so the trucks just had to keep circling the city. They're suing the city because they said that it was impeding on their rights to travel. And then they also warned, when we go back to DC, we are not the same convoy. So it went on to say that they're coming back with a spine and with teeth and claws. So this is our doofus of the week. Those that watch the show know it's the American Doofus channel, and sometimes we do the American Doofus show. This isn't an American Doofus show. This is news done differently. We're connecting the dots, but we're still having a doofus of the week. On the very same day, 9 hours ago today, the day after an incredible, unthinkable decision. I in all honesty, I never thought Roe V Wade and Casey, I never thought the two cases would get overturned, simply because it's the most effective wedge tool the Republican Party had in dividing our country. And I never thought that they would mess with it, because it's always been a back and forth. I'll tell you a little secret. However many of you are watching right now, you're going to get a little secret. This is going to be in a book someday, if I live that long and the world lasts that long. I first ran for office in 2004, and I ran for state senate, and I did really well. And the Democrat Party came to me and asked me if I would move to Louisiana and run for Congress. And I said, no, I wouldn't. I probably should have. I'd have had a political future, but it's not what was supposed to happen. I said, I would consider running for Congress here. And so they put me through some tests, and then said, okay. And I ran for Congress first time in 2006. And here's the way it was set up. The first 2 years, it was going to be about building name recognition throughout the district. Then the second 2 years, that's when the funding was going to come, the support was going to come, and we would win. That's how it was laid out. Okay. So I worked my butt off the first 2 years. I was everywhere. And the district is 19 counties. It's like the size of the state of New Jersey. And it's like from one end to the other, it's a 6-hour drive. And it went all the way from Fort Wayne, Indiana, down to the Ohio River, and from the Ohio border over to the county next to Indianapolis. So massive area for those of you that are geography inclined and can envision maps in your head. Anyway, the first time I ran, we were running against Mike Pence, former vice president. He's going to try to run for president in 2024. Anyway, he spent, I think he spent $500,000, and I spent $24,000. It was grassroots, and the whole thing was built on organization. And there was a website back then called Daily Kos, and we were part of the grassroots movement that we grew in Daily Kos. Anyway, the district is 72% Republican. All right. And the first time we ran against Mike, we finished with 40% of the vote. Massive, scared the crap out of him. I became a rising star in the Democratic Party, even though I wasn't a Democrat. I was an independent running as a Democrat. Same thing Bernie Sanders ended up doing. Anyway, it came time in 2006 or in 2008. That was in 2006. In 2008, it came time to run again. And I went to Washington, D.C. and said, went to the DCCC, Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. That's where the money comes from. And I went to them and said, showed them my plan, and that I didn't need a lot of money. I needed $250,000 and I could win. I could beat this guy. And I was told, yeah, we believe you, but we're not going to give you any money at all. And this is after I put 2 years in and build an organization, and we were poised to win. I said, why? I said, well, we want to keep Mike Pence in there because every time he comes out and talks about abortion, we capitalize on fundraising. So we're not going to contest that seat. And I said, I'm going to contest it. He said, I'll tell you what, if you come back here and you donate $250,000 to us, we'll support you. And and the guy's a senator now. The guy that told me this is a senator now. And I said, if I raise $250,000, I'm going to win, and I'm going to come out here and I'm going to raise hell. So they did everything they could to stop me. And we got to 37% the second time. I had just about $50,000 and Mike spent $1.5 million. Now, if I hadn't ran, if I hadn't done what I did, that $1.5 million would have went to other campaigns. We helped take back the House by what we did. Anyway, thank you for hanging out through all of that. If you did, I apologize. I got on a tangent, but it all ties together because it's all about abortion and woman's right to choose. So on the day after that is announced, this guy decides to release this video. And it was just the most doofus thing I've seen all week. So he's our doofus of the week.
These girls should be at their knees begging me for marriage. I should have girls lined up begging me for marriage. I mean, I kind of do, but at the same time, I should have a lot more because, I'm Ethan Schmidt, founder of the Anti-Maskers Club, and you know, I gotta pass on these genes. These genes are pretty good, man. Pretty strong genes I have. So these girls should be begging me to impregnate them. These girls should be at their knees.
I can almost see the faces of some of you out there watching that going. And that's our doofus of the week. Okay. Let me see. Vladimir Putin has terminal illness and may be dying from cancer. Ex-military source says the reporting originated in India and then the New York Post and now in the mainstream media and Newsweek. We had this like 6 months ago. We've been talking about it, not 6 months ago, 6 weeks ago, definitely. We've been talking about it. No, God, it's 2 months, 8 weeks, almost 9 weeks ago. We had this. So, the fact that, and this is, has terminal illness and may be dying. Well, by definition, if you have terminal illness, you're dying. Just saying. And yeah, we had that. Okay. So we broke in last night, breaking news that Roe V Wade was going to be overturned. And like I said, I never imagined it would. I never imagined that would ever happen. And the protests in front of the Supreme Court started almost immediately. First time I checked, there were maybe 50 people out there, and they were all sitting in front of the steps. And there weren't any security around or anything. I mean, they were up by the building, but they weren't around where the people were gathering. About an hour later, there were probably between 500 and 700 people out there. They'd already had barricades up in the front, and it stayed peaceful, and that's important. All of these have to stay peaceful because part of this is the Republicans are looking for something, anything, to draw attention away from the violence on January 6th of 2021 when the attempted coup happened. All right. They're already saying, oh my gosh, the leak of the Supreme Court is so much more dangerous than what happened January 6th. I hear that on the fringe right, if not on frickin' Tucker Carlson. And it's not even close. Okay. Matter of fact, I'm going to run back down the list real quick. Bear with me. Again, thank you for watching. And if you, there we go, right there. If you are, if you're a lady and you would like to come on, if you're a female and like to come on and talk about what is on your mind with the Roe v. Wade decision in the chat on the YouTube channel, there's a link and you'll be able to come on the program if you want. And you don't have to have video or anything like that. You can come on and just audio only and talk. Or let me know what you think in the comments, because I've got just a couple more stories here, and then we're going to get into what that leak last night actually meant. But right now, just a reminder, and this is footage that is going to be used in trials. This is the office of the Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence. About 19 seconds worth of what was happening. And this incursion is so much more vile than somebody leaking a Supreme Court brief. I've spent some time in this building, in this area. I was in the gallery the day they voted to go to war in Iraq. Myself, my then wife, our kids, we were in the gallery as a guest of one of the senators the day they voted to go to war in Iraq. And it was, while I'm down here, this is kind of an amazing piece of footage. If I get it to come back over here to the start. This is a U.S. Army Chinook helicopter that's having problems, and it's trying to come in for landing. Just thought that was kind of incredible. So like I said, I got a couple of more stories here. Russia planned a terrorist attack to blame on Ukraine. They were trying to steal a Stinger missile, a U.S. Stinger missile, and they were going to use it to shoot down a passenger plane either over Russia or Belarus and blame it on either the United States or Ukraine. And Ukraine captured them. So I got sent this by Joe Walsh. Not Joe Walsh. Spent the last year rocking Mountain Way. Couldn't get, not that Joe Walsh, but Joe Walsh that ran for president against Trump in 2020. He ran for the Republican nomination in 2020. And he's also a former congressman. And anyway, Republican, but he sent this, tagged me in this, and the Department of Homeland Security finds that the Department of Homeland Security Intel Division modified a report on Russian interference in the 2020 election to blunt the impact of its finding, and that Russia was aiding Trump, and that Acting Secretary Chad Wolf ordered it frozen because it would, quote, hurt POTUS. The stuff, we will never know everything that happened during that 4 years of 4 years of defecating on what it really means to be president of the United States. Worst, period, president, period, ever, period. Maybe not, because Fat Billy Taft, William Taft, was the Teapot Dome scandal. It's the same thing that was going on here. Anyway, Capitol Bomb Squad going through a red pickup truck about 2 blocks from the Supreme Court. Had video of this, but I want to keep this as short as possible, and here I'm rambling on. Now, somebody messaged me and said, hey, this is this is a false alarm. It was one of the live streamers that it's their truck, and one of the enforcers of the right wing, as he was filming him, they got into a little bit of a verbal altercation, and the right wing guy said, there was a bomb, and this guy had bombs in his truck. So it turned out to be nothing. And again, don't be surprised if there's some kind of false flag thing. They want this to get violent. All right. They want this decision to bring about violence from anybody other than January 6th people. Okay. But don't be surprised if they get what they want. Okay. Last night I wrote this tweet. Why did this leak happen now? A theory. One of Trump appointees leaked this. Everybody's saying that the Democratic appointees, the two more liberal people on the court, leaked this. There's no reason for them to leak this to begin with. And if I'm kind of defending my theory here, okay? There's no reason for them to have leaked this. And if they would have leaked it, they wouldn't have leaked it to Politico. Okay? They would have leaked it to probably MSNBC or another more pro-liberal leaning location. One of the Trump appointees leaked this. Just gave you a couple of reasons why that is a possibility. It is a way for Trump to tell his rabid followers who think he is still president that he is. Okay? They still firmly believe he's in control. We're going to go to a brief report from the Q people here in just a second. Only about a minute worth. We're not going to dissect the whole thing or anything. I think we've proven that enough. However, I have been able to get access to all of the Q posts, all of the posts that started this, not from the real people that are believing all this stuff. And there's who knows how many of them. There are more of them than we think. Okay. But the actual, and they're computer generated. It's artificial intelligence. And I'm going to get to that maybe even tomorrow night. That may be what we do tomorrow. And I'm also going to read, at some point, I'm going to read the first chapter of my novel, my latest novel. So actually, I'm going to do that here coming up soon. I've been threatening to do it. And tomorrow night, I may do the Q thing. I don't know. It depends what happens news-wise. Anyway, the chatter on, they keep talking about the deep state, the deep web, the dark web. There are a bunch of them part of all of that. Okay. The more, and I can't show you examples because most of the stuff is chat and most of the stuff is from they've been infiltrated, and most of the stuff is from infiltrators. And there's concern how much the federal government's going to do about this, or any state government or local government. I'm just going to throw that out there. All right. May 5th is a target for what they call the white rise. They want to remove Cinco de Mayo, and they want to remove anything that's not white. They're trying to do it legally, which we'll get to in just a moment, because Roe v. Wade and this decision and how this brief is written, it's a lot more than Roe or Casey. The two cases that basically establish a woman's right to decide what she does with her body. The cases were Roe and the cases were Casey. So they want to remove anything that is not white. And I told them on Twitter, I report on QAnon and other extremists, and they claim to have units on standby awaiting the green light, which I'm going to play for you in just a second. and they will eliminate all that are not white. Yes, I, as well as you, hope this is all talk, but this info leaking, the leaking of the info from the court at this time will draw pro-choice and anti-choice in large numbers and give an excuse for the, quote, patriots to come to the Capitol and finish the job, end quote, because that's one thing they've been talking about for a year and a half. We're coming back and we're finishing the job. My hopes and prayers are that this does not happen, but timing fits in with the proposed May 5th online whack job chatter. Thoughts? And this is what Daryl sent me. Make sure they are met and overmatched. And we started exchanging some private messages, and I told him people don't have a clue. If this happens, they're not going to be ready, and there's no way they're going to be met and overmatched because the intellectual liberals don't think this can ever happen. And if it does happen, they've got enough money to do whatever. I really hope none of this happens, because if it does, it's going to be something horrible. And while I'm on that point, and I talk about these things, don't think that the whole country is going to ignite and everybody's going to go to war with each other. Okay. First of all, that's not how wars begin, generally or ever. They begin with a single attack. World War II, Japan attacks Pearl Harbor. The Civil War, bombing of Fort Sumter, what starts the Civil War. World War I, the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand is what eventually led to World War I. But as the hope is always that nothing happens on May 5th, all right? And they just go on to the next date, which is, what has happened many times before. And the sad thing is, one of these times they're going to actually rise up, and they're getting really anxious. They call themselves the Salt Army because salt is pure white. So if you happen to see any mention of Salt Army, just take notice. As I said, if something happens, and I think something's going to happen because so many pro-choice people are going to be out, and so many anti-choice people are going to be out, and the anti-choice people are going to have other anti-choice people that it's not about abortion, it's about getting rid of the libs. Now for some of them, for the Trumpers, it's going to be the rhinos first. Get rid of the rhinos because they're the really, they're the traitorous scumbags at the moment. And then owning the libs, and then subjugating everybody else that's not white. And I got a message, that, hey, this is coming. And they questioned whether I had American Indian blood or Jewish blood in me because of my nose. So hopefully they're keyboard warriors and nothing ever happens. And I was saying the exact same thing leading up to January 6th, that, I got all this intel, but hopefully nothing happens. If it does happen, it's not going to happen all over the country. Washington, D.C., obviously, prime potential target. It's close to Virginia, Maryland. It's easy to travel for millions of people. A 6-hour drive puts you probably to eastern Tennessee. You know, a 6-hour half moon because it's close to the ocean. Washington, D.C. Supposedly, John F. Kennedy Jr. is coming back to Philadelphia on May 5th. There's going to be a big rally in Philadelphia. They were saying Trump's going to be there and announce his inauguration, announce that he's now president, and Biden's been removed. Trump is going to be speaking on the 6th, on Friday, outside of Pittsburgh in support of Dr. Oz. And the thing is now, okay, John F. Kennedy Jr. is coming back. He's going to be vice president. He's going to be Trump's vice president when they take power. But it doesn't look like John F. Kennedy Jr. or sound like John F. Kennedy Jr. because he had to change his appearance and change his voice in order to be safe for all this time. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can you believe it? I don't. They do. And they've already shown up in Dallas once, November 22nd. And John F. Kennedy Jr. was there, but there aren't any pictures or anything of him because you can't recognize him. There's always an answer, all right? So make sure they are met and overmatched. And again, David Newer, I don't know David, but this was part of the attached here underneath my thread of, you know, when I said, what are your thoughts? Most people DM'd me, but Daryl put this out there. When people turn out in the streets to protest the end of Roe v. Wade, they will encounter Proud Boys, militiamen, and other patriots, insurgents, who will label them communists and oppose them violently. This is the role brown shirts factions have always played. Yeah, and that goes, you know, that goes back through the communist regime and back to through the Nazi regime, through the current fascist regime in Russia, and that's what we're seeing playing out here, sadly. So I'm not the only one that can see this happening. That doesn't make me happy or proud. It's just, it is what it is. Okay, I've got to hang on here a second. Got to switch to the next screen real quick because it won't let me. Hello to everybody in the chat. Fred, Sissy, you the only two in there? Okay, well, then it doesn't matter. I've been talking a lot. It doesn't seem like women want to come on here and talk, and that's okay. Like I said, the only reason I did it was, or the only reason I suggested the opportunity to do this was because I flipping through the various sources, landed on Fox, Sean Hannity, and 3 other old white guys were having a panel on the woman's right to choose. And I just thought that's just absolute asinine. So it's still open up. What do you say, Marcus? And again, hello to everybody that's not in the chat. Thank you for watching. Okay, here's 1 minute. 1 minute of what one of these QAnon videos is. And this just kind of adds to my concern. Okay.
Welcome, you're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 2765B, and today...
Welcome, my name's Dave, and this is the XM Report.
Today is May 2nd, 2022, and...
This guy is a former AM radio station commercial producer, okay? He's the guy that did all the commercials. And how's that voice? That's not his real voice.
The title of the episode is Boom Week Ahead, Teens on Standby, Waiting for the Green Light, No Sleep in D.C. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the fake news, big tech, the puppet masters.
This is for I'm pausing this for those that have watched this show for a long time and have seen a few of these, because I do this maybe once, maybe twice a week. And I did one where I did a deep dive in the whole thing and showed how this is Russian, how this is AI, and that episode got taken down and can't be played. So I'm reluctant to play much of this because I'm really not sure what's going on online as far as algorithms or whatever, things getting silenced, sites being oppressed number wise. Anyway, they normally started out 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, everything was about Christian patriots. Okay, that's how they all started out. You know, this is and if you watch this program, you will remember that. You know, hey, this is for the patriots and the Christians, and they don't talk about patriots or Christians, not necessarily anymore. They do mention patriots, but they don't talk about Christians. Okay, just something to think about.
They are panicking in D.C. Actually, they're not getting that much sleep because Trump and the Patriots, they're prepared and ready to mount a major offensive. And you can see that Trump, his rallies are building and building and building. Trump, he let everyone know, yes, True Social will be the voice of the people. And you can see that they're prepared and ready. Everything is on deck and ready to go. I do believe teams are standing by. They're just waiting for the green light.
So, okay. Teams are standing by. They're just waiting for the green light. And I believe them. They've got militia teams that are, like I said, they're chomping at the bit to go kill something, and not enough people are going to be aware when it breaks out. Now,
are you pregnant with grace?
This is, let me do it this way. Some of you are going to say, man, that's extreme. No, this is how things are going to be in much of the United States once Roe v. Wade is finalized, and it will be finalized. The Democrats do not have enough votes in the Senate to overturn or to codify, to make it a law as opposed to a court ruling, because this is what it's all based on, the fact that we're not overturning a law. We're not taking a word out of the Constitution. We are overturning a previous court ruling. Okay. Now, if Congress can overturn that, checks and balance systems, Congress could codify Roe v. Wade and Casey versus U.S. I think is Casey versus U.S. the other case. Codify them into law, and the Supreme Court wouldn't have anything to say about it. The Democrats don't have enough votes to do that. They have 50 votes plus the Vice President of the United States, who serves as President of the House or President of the Senate. And that one vote, 51-50, she breaks ties. In order to turn this over, they would have to have 60 votes, and they don't. So there's going to be some political theater where, you know, we're going to take this to Congress, and, you know, and that's all it is, political theater. because unless they do away with the filibuster, which requires 60 votes for anything to pass, unless they do away with the filibuster, which 2 Democrat senators aren't going to let them do. Roe v. Wade is going, as soon as all that's got to happen is the court's going to announce it. They're going to announce the decision. Everything else is out in public. I mean, it's Justice Roberts, Chief Justice, confirmed it, that it's real, and that they're going to try to find the leaker, because to them, that's the more incredible part. Somebody's saying what's going on behind the scenes and leaking stuff ahead of time. But this is what it's going to be like in a lot of states as women try to go to areas where access to women's health is legal.
Listen, everything's gonna be okay, right? Just let me do the talking, okay? Just
Evening, ladies. License, please. Where you headed?
just out for a drive.
Headed to the border?
Oh, no, we were just going up to the,
Hey there. What's your name?
Grace?
Are you pregnant, Grace? Step out of the vehicle.
She does not have to
Yes, she does. Show me your hands on the wheel, please. Step out of the vehicle.
Just something to think about. Now, like I said, this comes from Midas Touch. I didn't show you that, but it comes from Midas Touch, is who produced that. And some of you are probably going to go, oh man, that's extreme. It's, that's so no, it's honestly not extreme. And I'll show you a couple of things here. First of all, a map. As soon as it is announced, all of the states in the dark burgundy, it will immediately ban abortion. And the ones in the light red states, Nebraska, Kansas, Florida, Virginia, West Virginia, Indiana, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, restricted. And then New Mexico and Vermont, Bernie Sanders' state, they're not protected. So abortion rights are not protected. The blue states have already passed laws that will protect the woman's right to choose in those states, including Alaska and Hawaii. So there are states, Oklahoma, Texas. I don't want to name, because I'll mess up and that will delegitimize this. So I'll just stick with, there are states that it is illegal to cross the border to try to seek health care in another state. There are some corporations that are responding by saying, we're going to pay you, if you live in one of these states, we're going to pay you to be able to travel to another state for your health care, whatever it may be. That's going to be rare. It's horrific to think that you would see, that something like that video we just saw would be what was coming. It is what is coming. Let me see. I can't, gosh, I really like this software, except when it comes time to change screens. And again, hello, everybody. Thank you for watching. Last night when this ruling came out, and I got, somebody leaked it to me, not the documents. Somebody leaked it to me that Roe v. Wade is being overturned. And I couldn't conceive that. I've already talked about that. I just couldn't believe. And I held on to it, and I held on to it, and I held on to it. Because I wanted some other sort of confirmation other than just one source. Politico released a statement that they had it. That's when I went with it. And today, we've been able to access, and I told everybody last night in the live that I'm going to, when I can access the documents, I'm going to share it. It's 98 pages. It's a 66 page response with notes and addendums. And we're not going to go through the whole thing, not even close. But some things that have been highlighted that I want to share with you. At the time of Roe, 30 states still prohibited abortion at all stages. In the years prior to their decision, about a third of the states had liberalized their laws, but Roe abruptly ended that political process. It imposed the same highly restrictive regime on the entire nation, and it effectively struck down the abortion laws of every single state, which is true. It nationalized the concept that women should have the right to choose. Let me see. I think it's page 5 page 5 is the next. And again, this is now available on Politico, so you can go back and read. If you want to, you can read the whole brief. We hold that Roe and Casey's the other case I've been referencing, must be overruled. The Constitution, come on now. I don't want that. Okay, that's fine. We hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled. The Constitution makes no reference to abortion, and no such right implicitly protected by any constitutional provision, including the one on which the defenders of Roe and Casey now chiefly rely, the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. That provision has been held to guarantee some rights that are not mentioned in the Constitution, but any such right must be, quote, deeply rooted in this nation's history and transition and implicit in the concept of ordered liberty. Why does that matter? Well, let's jump ahead. I'm sorry. Roe's abuse of judicial authority. Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. Its reasoning was exceptionally weak, and the decision has had damaging consequences, and far from bringing about a national settlement of the abortion issue. Roe and Casey have inflamed debate and deepened division. It is the time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives. The permissibility of abortion and the limitations upon it are to be resolved, like most important questions in our democracy, by citizens trying to persuade one another and then voting. Okay, now we're going to have to jump ahead several pages. I think it's 36. And again, you can go back and read all of this. Hold on. Okay. Again, I'm going long, and I wasn't intending to. So I'm not sharing everything on this that I had planned to. I thought it was here. Here. On many other occasions, the court has overruled important constitutional decisions. We include a partial list in the footnote that follows without these decisions. So what they're saying is, on many other occasions, the court has overruled important constitutional decisions. And now that they've decided that Roe and Casey will no longer be allowed, that allows these other decisions to be revisited. And here's a list of these other decisions. Citizen United versus Federal Election Commission, Oberfell and Hodges, the right to same-sex marriage. You'll find the right to interracial marriage. You'll find that same-sex right here, the right to engage in consensual same-sex intimacy in one's home. Brown versus the Board of Education is not set law according to these rulings. And so this is why I'm telling you that this is much bigger than simply it's being presented as Roe v. Wade. And it's much bigger than that. And when I showed that video of what might happen to that mom and that little girl getting drug out of the car, being arrested for trying to seek medical care outside of the state, you heading to the border? Oh, no. Okay. State border. It's not they're heading to Mexico or Canada, the state border. All right. And going so far as consensual same-sex intimacy within one's home. Now, that doesn't impact me personally, but everything doesn't have to impact you personally for you not to see that, whoa, that's kind of wrong. Or at least, at the very least, it should give you something to think about. Claire McCaskill. Claire McCaskill is a senator from Missouri. And thank you. Claire McCaskill is senator from Missouri. And this is what she put out today on Twitter. In Missouri, the moment Roe falls, law will dictate the following. Life begins at conception. All termination of that life, even a morning after pill or using an IUD, will be illegal. They're going to go after contraception even. No exceptions for rape or incest. This is from the senator from Missouri. Okay, so she knows her law there. And it will make doctors helping families have a baby through in vitro fertilization subject to criminal charges. See, it goes much deeper than what you think just Roe v. Wade is. You know, and in the states, we showed that map, and in the states that show they have restrictions, many of those restrictions are 6 weeks. Now, most women don't even know they're pregnant for sure in 6 weeks. So again, make doctors helping families having a baby subject to criminal charges. How can that be? A fertilized egg is life under Missouri law. If Roe falls, any embryo destroyed in the process would be an illegal act. Any attempt to implant multiple embryos to get one to survive, any freezing of embryos that don't result in life being born would be subject to criminal investigation. This is not about saving babies, okay? I'm all for saving babies. I'm all for anytime a baby's born, it has health care from the moment it's born. There's food for it no matter what. There's housing for it no matter what. But you know what? That's not the Republican way. This is about control of women by I think a incredibly small minority. But we're going to know who they are. And if there's an election in November, we'll see how things play out. It's going to be hard not to be cynical and say, you know, we know they're rigging it because they're going to be in control of it. And we've seen them steal it or attempt to steal it. Mike Pence is the only thing that kept him from stealing it. Anyway, Claire says, I have no idea who leaked it and I don't care, but it's an effective way to lock in the 5 justices on the opinion. Somebody who thought either Justice Roberts might waver or, one of the other judges that swore that they would never touch Roe V Wade under oath during their hearings in front of the Senate committed perjury. That's what they did. That's what these 3 Republicans did. They swore under oath in their Senate confirmation hearings that they would not, that Roe v. Wade was settled, that it was settled law. And I think Trump got a hold of Amy Coney Barrett, who she wouldn't be there if it wasn't for him. So she owes everything to him. Just something to think about. Brett Kavanaugh, somebody paid off $920,000 of his debt right before his confirmation hearing so that he looked clean. He owes somebody something. Just something to think about. The minority has nothing to gain by leaking. I said that earlier. The minority has nothing to gain by leaking this. And I haven't shown you that crap. My bad. Let me get to that. Again, I don't like this software because of that, but those of you that are watching this still, thank you for hanging in there. Hello, Marcus again, Sissy, Fred, everybody out there watching wherever you're at. I got one more thing here. Let's go back to the map again, just real quick here. This is Missouri, where Claire McCaskill was talking about. And just to show you I've already read them and discussed them, so I'm not going to reread them. But just to show you, these were indeed her 3 tweets that I just read regarding the severity of how things are going to be in Missouri. And if anybody has any comments or anybody has any questions, anything to say, hey Summer, how are you? Prius, how are you? All right, I got one more little thing here that I want to share before saying, well, good morning now, because it's after midnight. COVID isn't over. Something's going on in China. Bird flu, COVID, something's happening over there. From CNN earlier this morning. An elderly man was taken to the morgue in a body bag while still alive. And I don't know. I've got video of this. I'm not going to play it. They had a still picture of, okay, they got the video now. I'm not going to play it, but yeah, it's just, it's just a reminder that, man, there are a lot of things, and my ponytail's popping out. There are a lot of things going on in our world, and it's dark, and it's getting darker every day. And just to kind of recap, Roe v. Wade, it was leaked at this time by someone specifically for a reason, and we need to be aware of that. If you are part of demonstrations, make sure they stay peaceful, because one of the goals of all this is to try to get something to blame. Yeah, but what about yeah, January 6th was bad, but what about, blowing up the Supreme Court? Okay. If you are in protests, head on a swivel as always. This might be different, because this might be different than the 2020 George Floyd's, Breonna Taylor, Elijah McClain. The list just goes on. There's, I don't know, a dozen names from Louisville alone. Okay, Summer, hold on a second. How do we do this? Okay. Well, there we go. Let's see if I can. How do I get you over here? There you go. Are you on here?
Hey,
Hey,
I am on
Summer,
here.
how are you? I was just talking
I'm doing
about
great.
Louisville.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy tabloid right now, huh?
yeah, I'm just telling people that, if you're going to go out and protest, keep your head on the swivel, because this might even be more dangerous than the George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and
And it's most definitely, because you're dealing with people's religious ideologies and things like that. And so, yeah, it's a totally different type of protest.
yeah, and I think they're going to be bigger, because this impacts potentially half of the country. 52% of the country's women. So not all of them are going to be pro, not all of them are going to be con, but they're all going to have a voice.
Yep. Yeah, this is big. And and I appreciate what you said earlier, because they're gaslighting it with, and not to use that term, but they're doing that and making everybody think this is just about abortions, and this is so much more than just about abortions. First of all, it's about safe abortions, because abortions are going to happen regardless. They're not going to stop anything. They're just stopping safe abortions. But this has to do with so much more than even just that, and it's frustrating, because a lot of people don't get that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we try to talk the truth on here, and it doesn't pay any money to tell the truth. Lies make you a bunch of money, but if you tell the truth, you sleep good at night.
Yep. Yeah, it's a really sad day for women. I've been on the internet all day. Obviously, we're planning some different things here in Louisville to just kind of respond to what's happening. And I do believe that this was leaked on purpose. I believe that it was definitely leaked on purpose. They knew that it was going to create. They knew what it was going to create. So yeah.
And even if it's not, even if it's not to try to spark violence, it's to try to get something to happen from the left that they can leverage. You know,
Yeah.
because the January 6th hearings are going to go public here very soon. And all those people are going to have to be answering where they were, what they knew, who they talked to, and people are going to go to jail. They got their backs against the wall. These are rich, powerful people, and they got their backs against the wall, and they're going to do everything they can to try to deflect the attention from themselves, and that includes unleashing the radical right.
Yeah, it's just frustrating to me because, and to me, women's issues, this is a huge, huge thing. This is and the messages that I keep hearing, over and over, no matter whose panel or what live or someone comes on my stuff and writes, like, they don't care about it. We don't care about women, and we have to care about women. We have to care about women. We have to care about this situation, because this situation they're going to use to unravel all kinds of things, and I strongly believe that. So this is definitely the beginning of a really, really crazy time. And I've been saying that for a while. I knew something was going to happen. I just didn't know what they were going to use to do it. And this is it. I mean, if there's anything, excuse me, if there's anything to use, what better thing to use than unravel the whole country and cause an even bigger divide than there already is.
Yeah, and this is the touchstone to do that. And plus, the way it's written, it kind of already tells us that, interracial marriage, gay marriage, even gay same sex, the public schools, everything's going to come down.
Yeah. And as a woman that's had an abortion and is in a interracial relationship, I will fight to the death of me before that happens.
Yeah, but people don't know that this is more than just Roe v. Wade, because all these things are coming as well.
Yeah, it is. And what's crazy is because the biggest thing I've been hearing today is, well, if only you guys use birth control. And what people, obviously, they don't look at the statistics before they open their mouth, because if they did, they would know that actually the majority of abortions that happen in the United States are actually from women that have used contraception that has failed. So if they did their research and they knew the statistics behind it, they'll tell themselves whatever to kind of make them comfortable. But what they don't realize is, even the people that are fighting against this, you will reap what you sow. You will reap what you sow, because every woman, whether you stand for abortions or not, will be affected by this. And that is something that they don't understand. And so you will reap what you sow. I promise that.
And I've got a secret for everybody. Republican women get abortions.
Yes, they do. And that statistic that I told you,
and they also
half of the majority of women that contraceptive failed them were from the faith-based community, actually. So, again, and a lot of women in the faith-based community, they hide and have to and do these things because of the shame and the guilt and the judgment that comes with it. And so they do it in secretly. And so if we stop safe abortions, and then people say, well, it's going to be the state personal state is going to be able to make the decisions. Can we really trust with that? Because they're already talking about making things criminal. You know what I mean? For people for doctors, for anybody that helps a woman, and a woman in itself. I mean, even as far as miscarriages, like, we can't control that happening. You know what I mean? So it's absolutely absurd that this is happening. I believe that it was leaked last night on purpose. And our side doesn't have anything to gain from it being leaked. So it's going to be really hard for me to believe that was somebody that is pro-choice to have leaked this.
Yeah. All right. So are you going to be doing something down in Louisville this weekend?
Yeah, we are. Well, we have a rally planned tomorrow at 5 at Metro Hall, and then on the 14th, which is a Saturday, we're planning something.
Okay.
So,
but there's going to be one tomorrow at 4.
Yeah, at 5 o'clock. We're meeting in front of
5. Are you going to live stream?
I will be live streaming for a bit. Yes. Are you headed?
Okay. All right.
Hold on one
So everybody out there, Summer, what is it? Hot mess Summer. What's your Facebook so they can follow you and watch the live stream tomorrow? Oh, I lost her. Okay. Summer Dickerson, everybody. Thank you, Summer, for coming on here. And we'll have her back on very soon. Louisville, Kentucky. 5 p.m. at Metro Hall tomorrow. A rally to support a woman's right to choose in Louisville, Kentucky. And as I find out about these rallies, of course, we'll be monitoring them. If something happens in my area, I'll be out live streaming it. I'll let you know about it. And just, one final reminder: if you're going to protests, if you're going to Cinco de Mayo celebrations on Thursday, just head on a swivel. Just be just a little more aware. Maybe have a couple of less drinks than normal, just so that you're aware. Hopefully nothing happens, but something's going to kick off somewhere. And I just hope it's not big. So I love you all. I'm going to make a decision what I'm going to do tomorrow night. I'll be on live. I'm either going to do I'm going to dig into QAnon, show you the actual stuff that started all this. You're not going to believe how all this started. I'm either going to do that or I'm going to read the first chapter of my book, which I think it's important for people to hear, or I wouldn't be doing it. So I'll post that on YouTube. Until then, have a very blessed evening. I love you all. I truly do. Thank you all for watching. Namaste, shalom, salam. Blessings be upon each and every one of you. Peace.